Hi everyone, this is Jim. Welcome to this Blitz chess postmortem. This is a postmortem of my Blitz chess game number 192. My opponent played e4 here, and I played e6, looking to go into the French defense, which we get into. Bit of an unusual line in the French. My opponent plays knight c3. Main move here is d4. Why not? Why not just put an extra pawn in the center if your opponent lets you? And then I played d5. It looks like I also have the choice of playing c5 here and transposing into a Sicilian. So that'd be a flavor of the knight c3 Sicilian. But I intended to play a French, so I went ahead with that. And now white could still transpose back into a normal French by playing d4, and we'd have, well, black could choose between the Winnower or the classical variations of the French. But he took here, so I take back as natural. And now one last chance to transpose back into a normal opening. If he plays d4 here, this would be the exchange French. But he didn't. He played a3. And so he succeeded in avoiding all opening theory, which maybe was what he was after. But at the cost of giving black at least equal position. So black stands pretty well here, and just normal developing moves will serve black well. Okay, and it says here d4 is better than d3, what he played. d4 just it gives a little more space to white and opens up a line for his light squared bishop. So logical to play d4 there. Now it says I could play d4 myself, but instead I played bishop to d6, just developing another piece and preparing to castle kingside. And then he played bishop g5. And I didn't notice, this actually is creating a weakness here on d5. So this pawn is defended by a piece which is pinned, so it's actually hanging. And I ignored that and just castled. I ignored it because I didn't see it. But it's interesting that knight takes d5 is the best move, but black still has the advantage. So even though black has lost a pawn here, he's got enough, I guess, advantage in development to compensate for that. So immediately, knight takes with check is threatened. I would have to take back with the pawn. That would kind of mess up my pawn structure. But the engine wants to play. Okay, yeah, bishop e5, defending. So knight takes. Or bishop takes. Okay, knight takes, bishop takes, bishop takes, queen takes. It's just exchanging everything out. And what's the difference in these positions? White has an extra pawn. It's white's turn to move, so white gets a free developing move. Oh, I see. But there's a pawn that's under attack. So suppose white wants to hold on to his pawn. Play a move like c3. Then just queen b6, hitting the pawn and hitting over there, or rook e8 check. Looks like I can get a few developing moves. So my development advantage is a little better than it appears on the surface because I've already castled and I have one piece out, and white doesn't have any pieces out. So if we back up to this position here, bishop takes, queen takes, the engine recommends actually just developing a piece, so he has parity in terms of piece development and allowing black to recapture, get a pawn back, and so the game would continue. Material is even, and white will eventually castle a kingside, I guess, with moves like bishop e2 and castle, and may drive my queen away. But black has an easy game here too. It looks like slight edge for black. So that's interesting. My opponent, for some reason, didn't take the pawn and played queen d2, and now I have a pretty substantial edge here. I throw in rook e8 check. He blocks. Play h6 to see if this bishop is going to go away or exchange itself. He just plays bishop h4, maintaining the pin. And then I play c6 to I want to keep the knight from dropping into this b4 square and harassing my bishop. So white castles queenside, and I go bishop f5, getting my pieces out, and then he plays f3. So not the best move, but what's it suggesting? g4. It's interesting, g4 right away. Yeah, it is white's turn to move. G4. Bishop to C8. Bishop to H7. So taking, I guess, taking is a problem. That is an interesting technique. I guess if I take, rook to G1 is a strong move. It hits the bishop and hits that pawn. And if the bishop retreats, the queen can take a pawn on H6. So it says I should play G5 or H5. And then F3 or H3 to harass the bishop. Bishop back to F5. So this is a case where white is sacked a pawn just to get an open line on my king side, and it appears to be a valid sacrifice here, rated about even. Okay, so he plays F3 to build up to G4. It's just interesting that he could have played G4 right away. So he plays it here, and I retreat the bishop, and then he plays F4. So this attack is, I guess, just not successful, or won't be successful with good play. It's, somehow the engine thinks that black is better here. I guess has to do with the coordination of the pieces. That white's pieces are just not quite set up for an attack. He really needs to get a knight out of the way, get a bishop out of the way, get his rooks on the G and F files. So he's a few moves away from having a decent setup for his attack. So I play queen c7, he takes, and then g5. Okay, and so g5, at this point the advantage really swings in my favor. So just pushing on a little too, the pawns are just too far ahead of the pieces here, so he doesn't have the pieces in place to really back up this kind of aggressive pawn storm. So it says knight h5 is even better than what I played, which is knight g4. I just wanted to kind of keep these pawns from breaking through. So this knight is acting as a blockader here, and this still keeps a decent advantage for black. Material is even, so I guess my advantage again just consists in the better pieces. Also the bishop pair. I have the bishop pair, and but my pieces are more actively placed, I think. So bishop g2, getting his pieces out. Knight f4. And now he just blunders. So he should play bishop f3. Let's see how the game ought to have gone. Bishop to f3, and then I have different moves I could try here. Knight h3. Why not just take the knight? I guess taking the knight sort of helps him out. I want to leave the knight there and hope that he takes it, so that I can get my bishop onto that square and skewer his queen and his king. So knight to h3 is an interesting idea, though. Threatening knight to f2, forking the two rooks. Rook d to f1 to stop that. And then bishop to c5. Supporting a possible. And then the bishop can also come to d6, and now the king has to move. So I guess this just has increased the activity of black's pieces. There's no real breakthrough here, but it looks like black is in good shape. Bishop to e3, yeah, okay. I was surprised it's not the top choice. Bishop to e3, you know, that's going to be a real pesky bishop, very difficult to get rid of. So black is in good shape here, but it's still a game. Instead, he, I guess, panicked at the threat of this bishop to f4 idea with the skewer, and he played king b1, but he has a piece hanging here. And then the game is pretty much over. He starts to try and get some activity on the king side, but it's too little too late. He has to move the queen here, and I have time to play bishop h4, and once again blockading these pawns and keeping him from going anywhere. So he continues with rook df1, finally getting his pieces in place for the attack. But I have I have an extra bishop at this point, so it's going to be hard for him to really get something going. And then, then this is a second blunder. Just I was just commenting how this bishop is not doing a whole lot. It's just acting as a big pawn, and this bishop is biting on a pawn, which is pretty well defended, although I have maybe the idea of increasing the pressure on d5. So these bishops aren't doing too much, and maybe white with careful play can get something going. But he steps into the line of that bishop, and actually the rook is on that square, so that just blunders a piece. And he resigned at this point. There's a mate in 6, starting with b4, which I guess is forced here, and then I can go to the a file and come in this way. So anyway, I thought there were a few points of interest there, and in any case, I hadn't played a good game recently, so I uploaded this one. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Leave any comments you have in the section below, and I'll see you again later. Bye.